Hello and welcome to ThatCatDeveloper. I know I haven't released a video in ages, but I'm really happy to show you this thing that I've been working on as a multiple video tutorial series. In this series, we're going to make a Roblox moderation system. What that means is we're going to add in-game commands using warn, ban, so we can add moderation to a Roblox game. But instead of writing this and doing it only in Roblox scripts, we're also going to be using C# to create an API in which we can track these warnings and bans, and we can store them and later use them. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why use a backend with Roblox? Firstly, it tracks bans outside the game, which is really useful in case you want to see them, you want to, I don't know, display them in some way or other ways to add bans, maybe through a website, through a Discord bot. It doesn't really matter, but it really just tracks them outside the game. Then the next thing that we're using a backend for is so we can securely store the player data, because we can store it in our own database, which allows for security, and also it makes it 10 times easier to, as I said, track these bans. I also mentioned it, but you can integrate them with websites, leaderboards, or Discord bots. It's really up to you if you want to, because I have not planned in the series yet to do the integration. We can later do it after I finish the series. If you want to do that, drop a comment and say with what you want to do it. And lastly, you can build scalable systems beyond what Roblox allows alone, which is really useful. As I said, for integration, you can also add other logic. This is a really simple tutorial that we're doing right now. The logic in the API is really simple, but with this knowledge you can build upon and actually create something that's really interesting. So let me just tell you a little bit more about what we're building. After we build the warn and ban players, we're going to make the C# API with rate limiting and API key validation, which you will understand more down the series. We're going to store moderation history in a real database. We're going to use MongoDB because it's a light database and because it's free to use. Optional web dashboard, which, as I said, if you want this, drop a comment down and we will make it. Then later we're going to host the API with free hosting service, and then later on we're going to connect it to Roblox Studio. As you can see, this is the communication. We have C# as our API, which communicates with our client and with our database. Now let's go about what you actually learn in this series. You're going to learn about what HTTP requests are, what an application programming interface is or API, what a REST API is, how to set up a C# web API, how to add API key security, how to apply rate limiting, how to store moderation data in a database. Then later we're going to connect it to our Roblox game using HTTP service, and then we're also going to host the API for free. Again, it's optional. If you want this, drop a comment down, but we also add a web panel so you can see all the bans, track them outside of the game. But that's everything that we're going to cover in this series. You're going to need these 5 things. Now, the .NET SDK and Visual Studio, they come pre-bundled with the Visual Studio Store, which I'll show you in one of the next videos on how to install it when we need it. You also need to have Roblox Studio, of course, because it's a Roblox tutorial. You need to have a basic understanding of Lua, variables, services, for loops, while loops, if loops. This tutorial is not going to teach you Lua, but instead it's going to teach you how to do the connection with Lua and C#. And you need to know, essentially, object-oriented programming in C#. Now, this is not really required. I'm going to, of course, guide you through the way. But if you want for this to go as smooth as possible, you can check it. I'll provide in the description a link to W3 Schools, which is a really nice website to learn some basics. And this is everything that you actually need for the tutorial. Let me show you also what our series will be. This is episode 0, which is the introduction, where I showed you what the project is going to be. In episode 1, I'm going to explain what a HTTP request is, API and REST API. Then later we're going to set up Visual Studio in a C# project. We're going to create classes and we're going to connect them with MongoDB in episode 3. We're going to create the endpoints in episode 4. In episode 5 we'll secure the endpoint with API keys. In episode 6 we'll add the rate limiting. In episode 7 we'll be hosting the API. In episode 8 we'll be creating moderation logic. In episode 9 we'll be connecting it with the API and having the final look of the system. And in episode 10 I'll cover the finale, which just overall shows what you should have, maybe some common errors, and generally just everything you need in order to actually finish it. So that's it for this video. If you want to see next and you want to see the next series, please drop a subscribe down below. You can also drop a like down below. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. You can do them also in the comments. And that's all from me for this specific series. Have a good day.